Today, we're just going to go over a high-level overview of the clearinghouse itself, what we do, who we are, as well as dive into StudentTracker for outreach. And again, it's just high-level, what the service is, what we can provide, and what you'll need. So we'll start with the clearinghouse, who we are, and then we'll go into StudentTracker for outreach, what's next, and then we will have some time for Q&A at the end. So if you have any questions at the end, just go ahead and type them in that chat box to me, and we can go ahead and get as many of them answered as possible. And we'll also have our contact information up, so if you think of any questions after the fact, or if you did want to see if this was the right service for you, you can send us an email as well. The clearinghouse was founded in 1993, and the purpose was to be a central repository for enrollment reporting for currently enrolled students, and that was to help meet financial aid reporting requirements. And the centralized reporting reduced the cases of technical defaults on student loans, and it also reduced the administrative burden on institutions. And the creation of the clearinghouse assisted institutions in meeting compliance with federal aid and reporting. That's kind of how we got started, and we've moved into many other services since. Our mission has always been to serve the education community, so we're really here to serve you all. And we try to do that by facilitating the exchange and understanding of student enrollment, persistence, and related information. And so today we'll talk a little bit about how we can hopefully help you guys with that. We'll go into a little more detail about these, but the clearinghouse has signed student privacy pledges and received iKeepSafe Blooper badges, and we'll talk about those on the next slide. We do everything to make sure we have audits, security training, we make sure the information is never stored on laptops or anywhere that can get out. So we do want to be a trusted and secure source. And in addition, we have over 98% of the nation's college enrollment in our database. And so these things together really allow us to offer you a safe, accurate, and up-to-date information about your students. So like I said, we have signed the Student Privacy Pledge, which is sponsored by SIIA, which is the Software and Information Industry Association. And basically what that pledge says is that we'll safeguard your student privacy by agreeing to a set of standards and commitments related to the collection, maintenance, and use of that personal information. So we'll never sell your student information. We'll never use it for anything other than the intended purpose for why we have it. And we were also the first recipients of the iKeepSafe Blooper badge. And iKeepSafe is the leading digital safety and privacy nonprofit, and it requires companies participating in this assessment to undergo annual evaluations. So they will, go through everything, make sure their processes are up to date. It includes privacy policies, data security, and encryption practices. So we have been awarded that, and so you can feel confident that your data will be protected and used correctly when you're working with the clearinghouse. So as I said, we have over 98% of the nation's college enrollment, and we have all different types of institutions from 2 years, 4 years, public, private, trade schools, and for-profits in our database. And these schools are nationwide. So if, let's say you're in Virginia and you want to know if your students go out of state, that's no problem. That crosses state lines, and you can receive all of that information and make sure that you're getting the most complete coverage possible. So that was a little bit about the clearinghouse in general, and now I want to get into StudentTracker for outreach. And basically, you're able to track former participant enrollment, persistence, and completion. So you can see when you submit student data to us, you can see, are they not only, registering and attending college, but are they persisting? Are they transferring? Are they actually graduating? So it allows you to do some program evaluation and see, are you really not only getting them ready to enter college, but to receive a degree. It also helps with federal grant and donor reporting. So with federal TRIO programs, we talked about the college, it can really help you with your annual APR reports. We've also been working with a lot of programs with the Workforce and Innovation Act who now have to report to the federal government. And since we do get all of the information directly from the colleges and universities, it eliminates that need for self-reporting, surveying, which really is, it's very time-consuming for you guys, and it's not as accurate. With the information from the colleges, you can know that you're receiving the accurate and up-to-date information. And we already talked a little bit about security, but everything is sent through secure FTP accounts. Nothing is ever sent through email. So you can be sure that when you're sending this information, it's, it's going to get there safely and securely. Our outreach service has prices based on your organization sizes and needs. So you'll see it starts as low as $425, and then it goes up to as much as $2,500. These are yearly fees as well as yearly file and record limits. So the data files that you're seeing, the 12, 15, and 20, those refer to the actual Excel files that you're sending to us, and then the records are like the students on those files. So if you were to have, let's say, 500 students and you wanted to track them twice a year, once in the fall and once in the spring, that would be 2 data files and 1,000 records. And the web users you see on the right, the 5, 10, and 15, those refer to the single student lookup. Those are a number of separate accounts you can have that are able to do that. And we'll go over the single student lookup and what it is and what you're able to do with that on a later slide. You really don't have to provide too much information. The required data elements are first name, last name, date of birth, and a search by date. The search by date is generally when the student would have graduated high school, and basically you just use that date and look forward for any enrollment information. You will see that Social Security number is optional, and in order to submit using Social Security number, you would first have to send us a sample copy of the consent form that your student signed, and then if that meets FERPA's requirements, you would be able to do consent-based searches, which means it would bypass FERPA blocks, and you would see all the data that's available. All right, and then the online student search, this is where those web users come in. So you can go online and type in the student's information. Basically, if you were able to do consent-based searches, you would also see a Social Security area on here. You'll put in their information, and you're able to receive immediately the information back. You don't have to submit them in a file and wait for that to come back in a few days. This is only for single students at a time, so it's generally either for smaller volume accounts or just one-off searches, but everybody has access to this with an outreach account. And what it provides is a snapshot of the information we have for the requested student, and that includes student name and degrees awarded. So you can see their enrollment history on here, which schools they're attending, if they're 2-year, 4-year, public, private, when their enrollment term is. And so you'll see all of that information right away if it's available and if they don't have a perfect link on it. And then these are the batch files. So these are the ones you would submit on the Excel file. We would tell you exactly how to put those together. So we would send you a file formatting guide so you know what to put in each row and each column. And you would also have somebody helping you. If you have any questions, they can help you put it together, send it to your FTP account, all of that. And this page is just kind of the basic first page of the report you'll get back. It shows you how many you submitted, how many records weren't able to be found, how many records were included in the aggregate report, and how to run this student detail level report. It's possible that you would see more in the aggregate report than in the detail, because if they have a FERPA block on it and you aren't using consent-based searches, then you aren't able to return that detailed information, but we can include it in that aggregate information. The aggregate report lists in descending order the first school that the student attended after the search date that was provided in the file. And then where you're going to see the bulk of your information is in the student detail report. So this is returned as a CSV file. It's easily opened and analyzed using Microsoft Excel. So if you have any further, disaggregation you want to do, you can do that in Excel. And the columns go from A to AC, and we'll go through a few of those now. The first few, it's pretty much the information you provide us. So first name, last name, we'll tell you if the record was found and the search by date. And then this return requester field is for you guys. So you can put in things like gender, ethnicity, if there were any specific classes that student was involved in or programs they were involved in. It's really just for you. So you can then later do further analysis about your students. In the next section, you're going to see the institution data. So the school name, what state it's in, whether it's a 2-year, 4-year, public or private, the enrollment dates, beginning and end, and then some things like the major actually depend on the college. It's not a required data element, so it is something you'll see for some students but not for others. I believe right now around 75% of institutions are submitting that information. And then here you're going to see the degree information. So you'll always see a graduation indicator, the yes or the no, and then the graduation date. The degree is similar to the major, where it depends on if the institution is part of Degree Verify, whether you'll see that information or not. And then the college sequence tells you if they attended more than one school, it's going to tell you what order they attended in. Just want to go back here real quick. It is possible that you'll see multiple rows for one student. And that's because each row is for a different enrollment period. So if they've been in school for 6 semesters, you're going to see 6 rows for that student. All right, and then the last thing I'm going to talk about is just kind of the basics for StudentTracker outreach in terms of the eligibility requirements we kind of touched on earlier. It is for programs that are out there specifically to help underserved, underprivileged, low-income, minority-type students. So basically, if you reach out to us and want to set up an account, we pretty much just want to get some more information from you about who your program is, who you work with, what kind of services you're providing to them. So if you do think that you're eligible for an outreach and you would like to start tracking your students, please reach out to us at stservices@studentclearinghouse.org. And there's more information on our website as well. And I will come back to this in a second. But if you haven't already looked at our Clearinghouse Academy site, please be sure to do that. We have live events and webinars, which might be how you found this webinar, but we also have tutorials and recorded webinars. So if you were to sign up for StudentTracker for outreach, what you could do next is look up a webinar for how to actually put together and submit your files. That's another one we have. We also have conferences we're attending and then user help and FAQs. So this is a really great website to use. Okay, so that concludes the webinar. If you have any questions, please go ahead and start typing them at this time. Or if you have any eligibility questions or want to sit on the information for a little while, please feel free to send us an email.